In this video, I'm going to help you to decide whether you should get a gasifier outdoor wood boiler or a non-gasifier. I'm in a good position to explain this because back in 2011, I installed my first outdoor wood boiler. This is my second one. It was a downdraft gasifier, a Portage and Main Optimizer 250, and I really liked it. Now, about 5 years after I installed it, it sprung a leak inside, and the water was going into the firebox, and that's a problem. I called Portage and Main. They were very good about it. They said, we'll replace it for free, we'll ship it for free, we'll get rid of the old one for you, and you can choose any one you want. So I thought, well, I like the Optimizer, and the design had been modified by that stage to eliminate the corrosion problem that I had. But I thought, well, you know, I'd like to try life with a more traditional non-gasifier model. And so that's how come I got this one. So now I've had a good experience with both. I mean, from 2011 until, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and then taking off with this one for the last 6 or 7 years. I know each well, and for me, if I had to choose again, I would go with this type. I do prefer it slightly to the Optimizer that I had before, and there's really two reasons why. One is that the maintenance I need to do on this, the daily maintenance, cleaning and things like that, not daily maintenance, but regular maintenance, takes me much, much less time. And that's because it's technically simpler. The downdraft gasifier is a tremendous technology. You have initially, there's combustion in the firebox, and I'll show you the firebox on this one in a minute, but that only does part of the process. The smoke and gases on the downdraft gasifier are then forced down, not up into the chimney, but down through the coal bed, through some very heavy refractory masonry that happens to be angled, so there's a kind of compression going on there. And all this leads to a secondary combustion chamber where the gases really do burn quite well. And in fact, if you see it happening, it looks just like a natural gas flame. And there's essentially no smoke that comes out. It's complete combustion. Now, in order to make that happen, though, at least in the unit I had, there was a fire tube heat exchanger, which had a number of tubes running through the water tank, and those do a great job at sucking the heat out of the gases, but they also require a fairly extensive cleaning process. When I had my gasifier, I would spend 1 to 2 hours each Saturday afternoon cleaning it, getting it ready for the week ahead. I mean, that's not a ridiculous amount of time, but it does add up. And with this one, I really don't even do any maintenance beyond just a couple of minutes of work, cleaning the heat exchanger, which is a different style, and emptying the ash from the pan underneath. I just do it as a matter of course, maybe every day or so when I come out to fire the boiler, which I do generally twice a day. So the maintenance here is almost non-existent as far as cleaning goes. It just happens naturally. So let's go over and take a look and just show you the heat exchanger and the ash pan. Really, this style of unit is simpler, and simple is good in my book. This is the firebox. Doesn't look, you know, a whole lot different than a downdraft gasifier firebox would look. In this case, the unit that I ordered has a shaker grate, so there's a handle here, and you can see it moves the bottom part of the firebox to help shake the ash down. You can get a unit that's just like this. It doesn't have the shaker grate, it just has slots in the bottom, and you use this tool to kind of pull the ash across it and get the ash to move down. Now, there's a reason I ordered a shaker grate, and it has to do with burning coal, and I'll get to that in a minute. But firebox, quite simple. The heat exchanger here is very different than any downdraft gasifier that I've seen, which usually uses the fire tube heat exchanger. But the gases come up from the left side over here, from the firebox. There's a hole at the back. They travel towards us. The door is closed, of course, so the gases are forced around that central division there, which also has water in it, so you're getting heat transfer there, and then all the way to the back where there's another hole that leads up to the chimney. So very simple. Cleaning is just a matter of scraping the top and the sides to get as much gunk off as you can. And then the gunk that has fallen off, you push, you gather together, and I just push it right to the back, and it just falls down into the firebox. It literally takes me maybe between 1 and 2 minutes. And because I'm not continually, but I'm regularly cleaning it, it never really gets very dirty between cleanings. So I get good heat transfer. And you know, the claim to fame of the downdraft gasifiers is cleanliness of combustion and efficiency. So most heat from your pile of wood. I have not noticed a difference in wood consumption since I switched from the downdraft unit to this unit. My guess is I'm probably using a bit more wood, and I am producing a bit more smoke. But when it's running properly and it's not stuffed with wood unnecessarily, it burns pretty clean as these things go. It's not as clean as my gasifier, my downdraft gasifier, but it's quite clean and it's perfectly acceptable. So I'm trading complication for simplicity and maybe burning a bit more wood. But this unit has greater flexibility as far as the kind of fuel you use. One thing about the downdraft gasifiers, to function properly, the wood needs to be nice and dry, really nice firewood. And normally I manage that, but sometimes things come up and I don't cut my wood soon enough, so I'm burning wood that maybe is a little wetter than it should be. Gasifiers, downdraft gasifiers don't like that. They don't really gasify well with that kind of wood. But this unit here, not picky at all. In fact, in the shoulder seasons, I do my heating just with junk wood. Wood that's not even worth splitting. The firebox on this thing is 44 inches long, and it doesn't take much of a fire to keep things warm in the shoulder seasons. And so I can just put junky wood in there, you know, half punky stuff, branches I'm clearing from a trail, whatever, and we get heat out of that. My gasifier, my downdraft unit, would not have appreciated that quite so much. So you can be less picky about the wood you burn. Another thing, and this is why I chose the shaker grate, I wanted a unit that could also burn coal if I wanted to. And I have brought in 3 transport loads of coal over the years for those times when I haven't been able to cut as much wood as I needed. With this unit here, you can burn bituminous coal, semi-bituminous, just like you would firewood. You just throw it in and it burns. But I'm not burning that kind of coal. The kind of coal I'm burning is anthracite coal, which is really a very different animal than other kinds of coal. It has a tremendous amount of heat. It burns completely smokelessly, except for a few minutes when you put some fresh coal in. It burns hot. It has about 3 times the heat value of good hardwood, pound for pound. So it's quite a high-powered fuel, but it's very eager to stop burning. Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine something with so much heat and it's not really all that eager to burn. And in order to get anthracite to burn, you need 2 things. First of all, you need air coming up from the bottom. That's no problem with a unit like this. Downdraft, that's another matter. The air travel is in a different direction. You also need to be able to shake the burning anthracite coal bed in order to get the ash out. And that's why I ordered the shaker grate. If you stir an anthracite fire, that's actually a pretty good way of putting it out. And as the individual coals burn, they slough off ash. So one coal here getting an ash buildup around it, another coal here getting an ash buildup. And eventually, all of the passages between the burning coal will be filled with ash, and the fire will choke itself out. So you need to get rid of that ash from between the coals. And that's where the shaker grate comes in. You don't stir the anthracite fire to knock the ash down. You just work the shaker grate back and forth. This unit did take a bit of modification to burn anthracite because, like I said, it's a special coal and it has different characteristics. Now, in order to burn anthracite properly, I discovered I had to not modify the boiler, but I had to make an accessory for it. And that accessory is a metal box that fits into the firebox. It has no bottom to it. It's just sides. And I don't know if you can see too well. Maybe if I work the grate here, but you see the shaker grate is only in the middle of the firebox. The sides are, they're sloped fire brick. And like I said, anthracite needs air coming up from the bottom. So the box contains the burning anthracite so that it's only over the shaker grate. And with that in place, it works very well. So the unit is simpler than the downdraft model I had. It takes less time to maintain. It's less finicky about the wood you put into it, and it can burn regular coal without that modified box I was telling you about. If you want to burn anthracite coal, it works well too with the box. It's an easy thing to make up, and so that gives you some flexibility. And so, bottom line, my downdraft unit was great, but if I have to choose again, I'm going to choose this one. I spend less time maintaining it. I have more flexibility for fuel, and it's just proven to be a reliable unit. Oh, this is the Portage and Main 3444. That's the model I have. And the gasifier I had was the Portage and Main Optimizer 250. Hope this helps.